Hey guys, King of Charmanders here. Today I bring to you the best Vernal Invader review. Is it good or bad, and does there need to be more? So the Vernal Invader has been out for almost a month. This video will take a dive into the Vernal Invader and compare it to Fulminations of the Frost. We'll also take a look at how the update could have been better. Now this is only the second update that Monster Hunter now has been through, but things can always get better, and we'll get through that later in the video. Alright, let's jump right into it. We're first going to take a look at how the Vernal Invader compares to Fulminations of the Frost. I'll be shortening the titles of these updates to make the slides easier to read, so I'll put Fulmination of the Frost as FOF and the Vernal Invader as TVI. Now let's take a look at how the Vernal Invader compares to Fulminations of the Frost. Both updates had new monsters. Deviljho, Odogaron, and Sisiaku, again versus Zinogre, Radobaan, Barret, and Bambaro. Both updates also introduced one variant, Azeratalos and Koropuke. Black Diablos and Pink Rothian were introduced before the updates, so I'm not going to count them because if you've been playing since the beginning, Black Diablos and Pink Rothian were introduced before the major updates ever happened for Fulmination of the Frost or the Vernal Invader. Moving forward, Fulminations of the Frost introduced 4 monsters versus the Vernal Invader's 3 monsters. So one more monster was released in Fulminations of the Frost. Fulminations of the Frost had 2 monsters weak to fire, which were Bambaro and Barret, and 2 weak to ice, which were Radobaan and Zinogre. The Vernal Invader had 2 monsters weak to ice, Sisiaku and Odogaron, and 1 monster weak to thunder, which was Deviljho. Both updates featured a boss monster with a unique mechanic. First off, we were introduced with Zinogre with Huntathons, and Deviljho with Invasions. Next up, let's compare the new weapons of Fulmination of the Frost to the Vernal Invader. Fulminations of the Frost released the Dual Blades and Lance, while the Vernal Invader released the Charge Blade. This means that Fulminations of the Frost released 2 weapon types, while the Vernal Invader only released 1. Honestly, this makes a lot of sense considering there are only 18 weapon types in Monster Hunter. If we include medium bowguns from Monster Hunter 3, I remember playing that and I was wondering, I was like, whatever happened to medium bowguns? Haven't seen it since, but yes, medium bowguns were a thing. This would mean there are only 7-8 weapon types left to be released, so slowing it down will allow more updates to feature weapons. Of course, if you do the math, that means in the next 2 years we'll have all weapon types. So, you're just hoping, I don't know if that's going to be a thing. I don't know if they'll only release 1 per update like they did for the Vernal Invader. But if your favorite weapon, like the Insect Glaive, Switch Axe, etc., is still releasing soon in the next couple of seasons, or hopefully the next season. And now we have the problems with the Vernal Invader updates. Starting off with the monsters. While both updates have monsters that force you to play at a higher level, the Vernal Invader is too similar to Fulminations of the Frost with less monsters. Fulminations of the Frost released 4 monsters, while the Vernal Invader released 3 monsters. Given Barret left the field as it's not winter, so it kind of did a -1, and it's going to come back later. But the fact of the matter is, Fulminations of the Frost still had more monsters. And the boss monsters of each update have unique mechanics for encountering them. For Huntathons in Fulmination of the Frost, you had Zinogre. And now, for the Vernal Invader, we have Invasions, which feature Deviljho. The thing is, at its core, the Vernal Invader is exactly like Fulminations of the Frost in terms of a monster update. Hi, let's release more monsters. And in addition, let's put this little mechanic that goes along with the big boss monster of the release. And yeah, they're exactly the same as far as like the core of what they intended to do. Nothing special around it, and nothing that really makes you scream like, oh, this is super exciting. To make matters worse, Invasions make it harder to encounter Deviljho because of the volatile environment mechanic. You have to go around to biomes, and some biomes will be the volatile environment. Easy to spot, but the thing is, in comparison to Zinogre, at least with Zinogre, you know where to find Huntathons or hats as long as you look for large gathering nodes. If you've been playing for a while, you probably know where all your large gathering nodes are. Go around, look for them, and you might find Zinogre. Unfortunately, with Deviljho, you essentially need to travel around until you find volatile biomes, and then you need to hunt certain monsters to have a chance of encountering Deviljho. It's a whole lot of work for solo players and any player who doesn't live in a large community that plays Monster Hunter now. Places in Asia like Hong Kong and Japan, y'all probably already have some crazy dude out there that is a grade 10, 5 out of 5 Devil Joe weapon. In America, not super likely, unless you're spoofing of course, but we don't speak of that here. But yeah, it's a whole lot of work, and unfortunately the invasion mechanic just doesn't work for the average player, or pretty much every solo player in general. Now that we've gone over the monsters, let's talk about the problem with the Vernal Invader update in terms of weaponry. No weapons received an update when the Vernal Invader released versus Fulminations of the Frost, where most weapons got an update. Most weapons got an update unless it was the longsword, because Niantic Capcom were like, oh, these are good. The thing is, Fulminations of the Frost's lance is underpowered in comparison to its main series counterpart, and so is the light bow gun. Both of these weapons are underpowered, even the sword and shield. The dual blades operated pretty similarly to its main series counterpart, so it was great. However, just for all weapons, this is what's not so great. The Vernal Invader's Charge Blade largely operates like it did in the main series game, however, lack of a training area makes this weapon really difficult to practice and master for newer players due to its technical requirements. The Charge Blade is arguably the most technical weapon in all of Monster Hunter series. And we don't have a training area, so if you're going to try to practice with any sort of weapon right now, it's a little hard unless you have the resources or if you're just willing to wait until your HP restores so that you can try again. Players in the community have been calling for a training area like in World and Rise. This would enable us to safely practice our weapons, and when we don't have a large monster around us or something like that, or when we have spare time, we can go and practice our weapons and get better and better at them. So if you decide to go to a new weapon and you really, before you invest any materials or any into said weapon, you can practice with it. And if you like it, good for you. If you don't, then you could pass up with it. But we desperately need some sort of training area for Monster Hunter now so that when newer weapon types release, we can practice and get better at them, especially the Charge Blade. And here were other things that were a problem with the Vernal Invader. While the Vernal Invader gave plus 250 free item storage, it should have been bigger. For those of you that played at a certain time frame or logged on when the Vernal Invader released, yeah, plus 250. Yay! 250. Guess what? That's gonna last you probably like a week or two, and then you need more. Or if not, it barely did anything for you. It should have been more. I would say 500. No, give 1,000. 1,000 would have been really great to promote and update. The Vernal Invader also did not increase individual item storage, unlike Fulminations of the Frost, which enabled you to increase storage by 10,000 materials. You went from 10,500 to 20,500 when Fulminations of the Frost came out. When the Vernal Invader came out, guess what? There was no storage increase. So, hoarders like me that had a whole bunch of materials just stored up, guess what? A lot of those are going down the drain. And they still continue to go down the drain until there's a better system for item storage for Monster Hunter now. Or not just item storage, I mean getting stuff for your items, etc. Or they just keep disappearing into the Shadow Realm. In addition, overall, the Vernal Invader was lacking any new content or new game mechanics outside of new monsters / weapons. Like I mentioned before, it was the same story as Fulmination of the Frost. New monsters, new weapon type, and bam, new boss monster with mechanic. That really was, for the most part, not everything, but at the core, that's what it was. It's what really got you hyped out. While other updates or other new game content like Palico gear, decorations, battle items, and other possible updates are hopefully being released soon in the future because, again, that's what Monster Hunter now is lacking right now. Content. I'm not saying you have to release the same thing every 15,000 seconds, but there was some new content released, but definitely not as massive, or I would say as impactful, if again, Palico gear, decorations, battle items, and other updates that actually increased and gave us new content instead of the same old stuff like before. And while there were some bad things and kind of just stagnant same old update type of thing, there are some good things about the Vernal Invader update. We got new equipment skills: quick work, power prolonger, latent power, and status sneak attack. This allowed you more customization, and it definitely gave you more builds and more gear to strive after. We also got 5 more loadouts, which we have been asking for a long time. We've been stuck with 5 for the longest time. Now we have 10. We're probably going to get more in the future. But just seeing as there are more loadouts now, it is more possible that we will see more in the future. We got a new quality of life update, which allows you to easily switch between weapon loadouts. Honestly, one of the best updates, because now I can just hold and switch and easily just go from one build to another, rather than going into the equipment menu, switching, and then having to go back to the same dang menu over and over again. Definitely a great quality of life update. In addition, we had layered armor, which allows you to customize your appearance without losing equipment benefits. Somehow this was a highly requested update. You know, for those of you that were saying it's a highly requested update, just say you really wanted to wear them kitty ears. No, seriously. I see a lot of avatars wearing the kitty ears. Like, just say you wanted that, okay? It's perfectly fine. You know, I know a lot of cosplaying, etc. in Japan and whatnot. But yeah, a lot of y'all really wanted them ears. I'm just kidding. But yeah, layered armor is really cool. And it lets me turn into the 7 deadly sins knight armor, where I can just fully equip full Black Diablos gear, my favorite monster and my favorite color. So definitely grateful for layered armor. And the best part about this update was the season pass. We got a season pass, a battle pass. Yes, you have to pay for it to get the paid benefits, but there was a free pathway. So the season pass gave both free and paid pathways. So even if you didn't pay for it, you still got to participate, and you could still get it up to a high enough level to where you can get a lot of stuff for free. More content on that later. But yeah, the season pass gave you a goal to go after, and it definitely was, in my opinion, the best part of this update. Overall, the Vernal Invader is a good update. However, the next update needs to introduce something big to keep the player base engaged and grow the community. There are plenty of good things that the Vernal Invader brung, but it felt like such a clone of the Fulminations of the Frost, just in its own different type of way. Hopefully in the future we have a lot of big things are coming to the horizon, so hopefully one of those big things actually comes out so we can keep the player base growing and to keep them engaged, like I mentioned. Especially as a content creator. As a content creator, Monster Hunter now, the big problem with it is that, yes, there's a ton of things you can create content-wise on paper if you just put it on a list, which is why I'm able to make videos every day, but I want more. We always want more, but there should be more rather than kind of the same things we've seen over and over again. The good thing is that's probably going to come soon. Well, not really soon, likely next month or the next update. Hopefully it's soon, as Kushala was teased as the first Elder Dragon. So hopefully, again, that comes soon, and hopefully there's a remote hunt mechanic so I can invite my friends to help me with Kushala, especially since I can't go out into the community and find other players to play with consistently with Monster Hunter now. Let me hunt with my friends in the world. I will pay, but also give a free option so that other people that don't have to pay can do like 5 remote hunts a day or something like that. And this is a personal thing that I would like to happen. As Monster Hunter now is the second highest grossing game for Niantic, we should have a Pokemon Go Fest level live event in the future. They did it for Harry Potter before it shut down, but I don't think Monster Hunter is going to do that anytime soon because, again, it's the second highest grossing game and it's incredibly successful. So hopefully something like that's going to happen soon because I would definitely love to travel for that. And I'm just waiting for it to happen so I can book my tickets in my hotel. And I can't wait to see that finally come down. And right away, I'm going to be right there booking and everything like that. With that being said, please do me a huge favor. Like, subscribe, and comment for the YouTube algorithm. What do you think should come as the next update? Did you like the Vernal Invader? Put it in the comments and let me know. And more feedback stuff so that Niantic can read our feedback and listen to us. Please and thank you. Mostly Capcom, not Niantic. But Niantic/Capcom. Good luck on your grinds, and I will see y'all on the next video.